So album number 4 from Ulthar comes right after album number 3. They're sister albums, a pair of albums, two completely separate entities that were recorded at the same time, which have entirely different moods. And this one is much more focused on the flow of things, and as such, it presents much more of a black metal perspective overall than you would expect after Anthronomicon. And it feels like it was composed more with the sensibilities of Steve Peacock's work in various other projects in terms of how they've threaded together the compositions all the way through. And that's just a random observation on my part. In general, there's one song on each side, and the two sides have their own pluses and minuses because you really are in for the full ride. So if there's anything you don't like, well, it's a piece of that whole sitting that you may have to sit through again and again. So they mostly nail it with this one. I think they do a good job of not only appearing more fluid, a little bit more black metal, and creating a completely different feeling and tone with this piece as it starts, but they also imply the classic technical death metal that inspired the band in the first place, and a lot of their other influences, which come in more obvious ways. So, um, there's no real need to go through a bio on this if you've watched the Anthronomicon video, but basically, um, this is a tough one to both talk about and present because uh, there's two 20-minute songs. So, I'll give you a clip here that gives you a little piece of that, but uh, you really are going to want to cut it up into pieces yourself, and you'll see why once you actually listen to it. So the big thing I didn't cover when I was talking about Anthronomicon was that a lot of the pieces on that album end with a short space ambient or dark ambient section, which spaces the songs for about 15 to 20 seconds. On this album, there are extended versions of that, which factor into the atmosphere and the builds of each song in significant ways. Uh, so with mixed results, I think overall, but this isn't, you're not going to get like 5 minutes of ambiance here. The big thing is that this album is not demanding in the way that Anthronomicon is. That is a technical death metal album circa 1992, uh, jetted into 2023, and this is more of an abstract blackened death metal record that breathes and doesn't requires a lot of space to do so and doesn't demand the listener follow every note or really pick through its guts to get to what's effective about it. So this was a really difficult thing to review in tandem with the first album because one demands such a high challenge. It's more engaging in every way, and this is much more. Hey, actually, chill out a little bit, feel the groove, get into the tonal implication of each piece as it evolves, and that takes more patience when you just come off of such an intense album. So I think that's the big thing, is that this is going to be a come down no matter what. And so yeah, I think it's a tough thing to sell both these albums at the same time because someone like me will get everything they want out of Anthronomicon, and then this is like a cool thing, you know. It's not like a purely ambient record that you get packaged in or something like that. This is a full record that is its own thing, and it's a very different thing, which is bold and pretty cool. And um, the one thing I don't see this as an evolution that makes. I don't see this as a fourth album evolution beyond Anthronomicon, unless this is the direction they want to go in, which is a little bit less entertaining on my part, but uh, depending on the mood, depending if I want to chill out, and that'll all sound kind of funny when you're in the midst of either album, but it uh, it just tweaks the score a little bit lower, and really it's insignificant at this point. that it's 1 or 2 points, but that's because I eventually found there were virtues in each one that needed to be separated to be appreciated on their own terms. And I would encourage people to appreciate each album on their own terms if they are that invested in Ulthar and what they do in general. I'm a big fan, so I got a kick out of this one. Um, Granted, straight up, I will go back to the first album 10 more times than I will this one, just because it's more my thing. So a lot more details, thoughts, and whatnot in the written review. So check that out, and we'll go to another clip here to finish things off.